Hey there, everyone. Welcome again to Indian Story Read Along. Today's story is from the Panchatantra. And if you don't know, Panchatantra is a collection of stories that were very, very ancient. And so all of these stories took place in ancient times. Kings, queens, before any colonization of the Indian subcontinent ever happened, centuries before those things ever happened. And back when there were also mystical things like monsters and demons and things like that, and those were taken as very common. And every single story in the Panchatantra has a moral at the end, or if they don't say the moral, there's some huge lesson that you can learn from it. So today's story is called the Brahmana, the thief, and the Rakshasa. So Brahmanas in the old time caste system, which unfortunately is still followed today, but not followed so strictly the way that they used to. It's confusing. The way that they used to back in those days. In the olden days, here's the thing about the caste system. Everyone had a job, and it was supposed to be that no one was more equal than anyone else. No one was better than anyone else, because all four factions of the caste system, all four castes, were supposed to hold up society like the legs of a table hold up the table. And that's all it was supposed to be. No leg was better than any other leg. So back then, Brahmanas were supposed to be the teachers, the scholars, the gurus, the advisors to kings, and these were supposed to be also the spiritual leaders. So that's what this guy here that you see is doing here. And they also, from their tapas and their japam, their spiritual progress, used to be able to manipulate time and matter and tap into other realms. And that's something that you will see here. The Brahmana, the thief, and the Rakshasa. Once there was a Brahman named Drona. It's a pretty famous Brahmana name. If you recognize it from the Mahabharata, the sage there was also named Drona. Drona, who had given up all the luxuries of life. So he has this little hut. He is just meditating all day long, and that's all he is going to do. He's just going to focus inwardly. One day, a devotee came to see him. Master, you are lean and hungry. Please accept these. Today, we will think if someone calls us lean, it's a compliment. But back then, no. If you're not fat, you're not healthy. So he said, you're lean and hungry. Please accept these. And Drona says, 2 calves, may you ever be prosperous. So if you had 1 cow or 1 calf, you were very, very well off in those days, because a cow was the source of your livelihood. It could give you food, milk, butter, paneer, and you could also sell that milk for a little bit of money. The Brahmin fed the calves on butter, oil, and grain. A thief noticed all this. The thief's there thinking, what fat calves! This very night I shall steal them. That night, as he was on his way to the Brahmin's house, good Lord, what's this? I am a Rakshasa called Satyavachana. Who are you? I just love it that dude pops up out of nowhere. It's just like, boom, this is just another Tuesday night for me. It's like no one had to say anything to invoke him. He's just there. He's like, this is my turf. And then the thief says, I'm Krura Karma. Okay, this is what I like about Panchatantra that I didn't realize until I was a grown-up. Okay, when you see his name and all other names in Panchatantra, they tell you right in the guy's name whether he's a good guy or whether he's a bad guy. You might have heard another story on this channel called Dharma Buddhi and Papa Buddhi. Dharma Buddhi is that you have a sense of duty in your mind, that you have a sense of honor in your mind. Papa Buddhi is all you can think about is doing bad stuff and being bad toward other people. So same thing with this guy's name, Krura Karma. Did you ever wonder where the English word cruel came from? It's from here. Krura, a krura marka. That's what my mom used to say in Tamil. That means that guy has an evil, cruel mind. And that's what it is with this dude. I'm Krura Karma. I'm going to steal 2 fat calves from a poor Brahmana. And then the Rakshasa says, I see, let's be friends. It's a weird night. I'm very hungry. I'll eat the Brahman while you get the calves. And Krura Karma says, fine, let's go. So he's looking into Drona's window and he's saying, shh, let's hide here and wait, says Krura Karma. And the Rakshasa says, I can hardly wait. When the Brahmana began snoring, they entered the house. And the Rakshasa says, let me eat him now. I'm hungry. Krura Karma says, no, let us wait. I'll take the calves first, or else the Brahmana will wake up. And the Rakshasa is arguing. He's like, no, if the calves moo, I'll be the loser. This is why there's that saying, no honor between thieves. Because eventually there's going to be a fight. They're both thieves. It's not like one of them is in the habit of thinking of other people and being kind, right? And then the fight gets louder. No, I'll take the calves first. No, I'll eat the Brahmana first. The sound of their raised voices woke up the Brahmin. What's that? Who are you? Imagine waking up to this. Oh my gosh, I would just like fall over. Oh, then they're just like, okay, as long as you're awake, why don't you judge? Oh, Brahmana, this Rakshasa wants to eat you. The Rakshasa says, this thief wants to steal your calves. So both of them just ended up tattling on each other. And this is where what I said in the beginning of the story comes into play, that Brahmanas were so spiritually adept back in those days that they, with their yogic powers, they could manipulate other worlds and their own world and matter and energy. And so that's what happens here. He has enough power, spiritual power built up that he can do this. The frightened Brahmana invoked his deity. And he's praying. He goes, oh Lord, please drive away the Rakshasa. In an instant, the Rakshasa vanished. So that is the magical part of this story. And now here is just the everyday part. He picks up his stick, his lati. As for you, run off or I'll beat you up. So I can take care of this guy on my own, God. I don't need your help for this one. And then the Brahmana thinks, the thief is gone, the calves are safe, and I am alive. Thank God. Moral. This is what I was talking about. The Panchatantra story always has a moral. When your enemies quarrel amongst themselves, you stand to gain. There's another version of that same moral that I've been thinking about lately, which is really interesting, that never interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake. So usually, if you just wait and look at the situation, you might be able to figure a way out of this. And that's what happened with Drona in this story. So this was kind of funny, kind of weird, but I like it. I like these old-timey Panchatantra stories that always have some kind of lesson, and there's some kind of magic in there too. If you want more stories like this, come back to Indian Story Read Along, and we will be reading a lot more. All right, see you soon.